As the clock strikes 7, the vibes are alive. Inner circles here, where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. In a circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another powerful episode of the Inner Circle Podcast. Tonight, we are diving into the future of leadership in District 34B with DFL-endorsed candidate SP Lee. He's part of the new generation of leaders, bringing fresh ideas, bold solutions, and a deep commitment to our community. From affordable housing and small business growth to public safety and equity, we'll explore his vision and his path to becoming the DFL choice in this competitive primary. So let's get right into it. Folks, as I say, our topic tonight is a new generation of leadership, XPD vision for District 34B. So you can join the conversation by calling our number 952-594-5154, or you can contribute, put a comment in the chat if you have any question for XP. Also, there's a growing community. You can follow us on our Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, on X, follow us on Twitter, wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, LinkedIn, where we are everywhere. So join our growing community. So with that, XP, welcome to the show.
No, thank you so much for having me, Abe. This is really exciting to be able to join you on the Inner Circle podcast. So thank you so much for this time to be able to talk.
Okay. Well, for our listeners, meeting you for the first time. Who is SP Lee beyond the campaign?
Yeah, I am a community organizer at heart, community advocate. I come from a nonprofit leadership background. You know, I started off with youth programming and then moved into manager positions, and then got onto boards. And then, you know, the boards ultimately started to interact with politics a lot. And that's kind of where I got some of the seeds of running for office. Okay. And then I had the opportunity to run for Brooklyn Park City Council in 2021. So then, yeah, that's where I come from. But other than that, I'm a refugee. I was born in a refugee camp after my parents fled Laos, and then came here to the States. I grew up in Fresno, California. I finished college in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and now I've lived up here in the Twin Cities for the longest amount of time. So I consider myself a Minnesotan. And I just became a father. So my wife and I are blessed to have a 5.5-month-old baby boy, and both him and Mama are doing really good.
Wow, very inspiring story, you know, and congratulations, you know, for being a new parent. Obviously, you know, that's going to keep you busy with a 5-month-old and then now. So congratulations on that. But what defining moments in your life prepare you for public service, you think?
Yeah, like I said, I come from nonprofit and community organizing, and I think it was folks just telling me, hey, like, you should run for office. Hey, you would make a great politician. And had a lot of good conversations with folks. friends and family. Wanted to run a couple times, but
Yeah.
it just wasn't quite ready.
Okay.
And then when the opportunity came to run for East District in 21, that's when I said to my wife, I was like, "This is it. This has to be
Okay.
it." But
Okay.
other than just folks affirming my abilities and my skills,
Yeah.
I think being a key thing about me is that I'm the oldest son
Okay.
of my dad, who is also the oldest son,
Okay.
um, and so he just had a lot of expectations, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And set a lot of the tone in terms
Mhm.
of my responsibilities
Sure.
from a young age.
Hmm.
And so I was able to, of course, we butted heads a lot as I grew,
Yeah.
but it was really because of his expectations and his really strong role modeling that helped me to learn to be a leader,
Yeah.
to be able to care for my siblings and cousins and folks in the community,
Sure.
my clan. And that really, it has been pivotal in my leadership growth over
Sure.
the
Sure.
years. Up to it continues to be a core part of who I am as a leader.
Okay. What did you learn from your first campaign, right? Jumping, running for public office the first time in 2021. What did you learn from that campaign? What did you, what was your experience like? And what did that experience, teach you that you think now you are prepared for this moment?
Yeah, I learned that it takes definitely a really solid teamwork.
Mm.
Uh, you know, you're the politician, you're the candidate, but of course you can't do it all by yourself.
Okay.
And you're representing so many people,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to be able to work with other people and pull a team together to be able to do the work that you need to do. So even once you get elected, you're not necessarily by yourself, right? You're making the decision, but you have folks helping you gather information and then talking through making the decision, right? So that was a level of leadership that I learned a lot about.
Mm-hmm.
So the campaign really helped me to exercise my leadership,
Okay.
and we won. So was great feeling. So then, being a city council member for the East District, you got to know everything about the
Okay.
city. All the information came to you
Okay.
about like everything. The roads. The budget numbers, the
Okay.
complaints.
Yeah.
So the good and the bad, and that really humbled me in terms of the weight of how the decisions really affect people's lives. So I carry all of that
Mm-hmm.
with me and want to bring it to the Capitol in a way that will also honor the compassion and the leadership that
Yeah.
Speaker Hortman,
Mm-hmm.
has also paved the way for us.
Sure. 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 Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. But just real quick though, just for clarification, are you still on the city council?
No,
Global
I'm not.
Park? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
my term
Um.
ended last year.
Okay. And you didn't run for re-election, or?
I did not. So my wife and I, one of the main reasons I did not, other reasons too, but it was because we were going to start a IVF journey,
Okay.
and we were expecting it to be challenging because we're
Okay.
going to be older parents.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we were so blessed. We had our son
Yeah.
just as we were starting naturally. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, congratulations again, on the birth of your child.
Thank you.
So this seat opened up because of the tragedy, the tragic assassination of, Speaker Emerita Melissa Hartman. She's someone that was very, very well known in the community, in the state. What was the reaction, to that senseless murder?
First of all, it was just shock, right? It was just wow. The rhetoric, the threats were already so high on the national
Mm-hmm.
level,
Mm-hmm.
And so this literally like really just hit home.
Mm-hmm.
We live just a few houses down, and woke up to the lights and the commotion. We got the uh, secure in place, or stay in place texts, and then we were trying to get information throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and when we learned, of course, that the Hoffmans were shot,
Mm-hmm.
we were so worried. And then heard that the Hortmans were killed.
Mm-hmm.
It was it was so devastating. Yeah, my wife and I, of course, we cried, and we tried to comfort each other. And then we learned that Gilbert had to be put down as well because he was shot.
Yeah.
And we just spent some time thinking about all the moments that we had to chat with them as they were walking their dog.
Okay.
Or of course she helped. She gave me some advice, and we talked a couple of times
Okay.
when I was running for city council.
Sure.
So just absolutely devastating. And that's part of the reason why I'm running, is because we the community needs to heal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the best way to heal is to be able to take up her legacy of this seat, and be able to protect the wins that she had led the DFL to get in these last couple of years, and then to continue to build the base to expand on them as much as possible. And that would be, I think, the most powerful and effective way to honor her legacy.
So if I hear you clearly, you actually knew her personally, and you and her live in the same neighborhood, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Well, knowing that politics can be, we live in a political environment that is so, some folks will say so toxic. A lot of negative stuff going on.
Yeah.
What convinced you, right, to jump in these turbulent moments, right? In our politics.
Yeah.
What convinced you that there is the right time? With a young family, with a family. What convinced you that you want to jump, you want to put your hat, into politics, or into this, especially this race?
Yeah. Again, folks reached out to me, knew I had stepped away from the city council, but I hadn't stepped away from politics. I still wanted to be engaged, and they said, "Hey, are you considering running?" So enough folks reached out. I talked with my wife, of course, other family and friends, and we really felt I would be a very strong candidate for the office, but also, again, to take up the legacy of Melissa Hortman. So I decided to run because of that, in spite of the political violence.
Yeah.
Because in this time where there's so much polarization, and there is violence, and possible threat.
Yeah.
And we just experienced an actual life and death situation.
Yeah.
But nothing what am I trying to say? Life isn't, there's a saying, life isn't worth living until you found something worth dying for.
Okay.
And it's in these moments of when you're facing fear, when you're literally facing death itself. I just felt strong and overcome with the notion that I wasn't gonna let this person and this type of action like keep me from standing up to it, right?
Okay.
From saying that, like, you will not strike fear into my heart.
Yeah.
You will not put, you know, a stop to all the work that she has led and she has won, and that we have achieved. And I will step up in the face of this, to be able to try to pull the community together and continue to move us forward. So yeah, I think that's where I try to draw inspiration from and strength from.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing a new generation of leadership, XPD vision for District 34B. He's one of three candidates running in the Democratic primary on August 12th. As you know, we have already had the other two candidates on here, and so now we have XPD in studio telling us about his background, his vision for the district. So you can contribute to the conversation again by calling our number 952-594-5154. Or putting a comment in the chat. Well, as you know, as we've been saying, right, the district is going through a transition, right? You know, with the assassination of Melissa Hartman. What do you think the district needs right now, as we speak?
Well, the focus is to right now is to elect the next representative.
Mm-hmm.
We need to keep the seat blue.
Okay.
Because then that keeps the House split, 67-67.
Mm-hmm.
With the House split, the DFL caucus will continue to be able to hold as much leverage as possible in the Minnesota House. And that's what needs to happen. So everybody, in terms of the focus, like right now, let's turn out, let's go vote, hopefully for me, to be able, as the DFL-endorsed candidate, to be able to get past the primary, and then to defeat the Republican candidate in the special election on September 16th, to make sure that we keep the seat blue. And then from there, we can focus on working with the other caucus members to be able to strategize how we're going to approach the next session in terms of all the legislative priorities. And there's going to be a lot. There is a lot to think about, also considering all the federal budget cuts that are going to be coming.
How will you describe the momentum of your campaign right now? Is like, how will you describe your campaign, and what sets you apart from the other two candidates?
I think our momentum is really strong. Went into the endorsing convention. Really did our best to connect with the delegates. And I won that on the third ballot by 77%. So a very strong vote of confidence from the SD34 delegates. And I continue to improve on that momentum by hitting the ground and talking with DFLers and strong supporters on the ground, door knocking, phone banking, and getting donations in, getting endorsements. We got Senator Hoffman's endorsement, which was huge. He's of course, the senator for SD34. I had a great conversation with him and was humbled and proud to get his vote of confidence, among others. And so we are building really strongly heading into this weekend, the last weekend before Tuesday. So we, of course, we're not going to take anything for granted. We're going to, keep hitting it hard, keep talking to folks, and keep hitting the ground work all the way up through Tuesday night. So that's our strategy, and we feel really good about it. I think what separates me again is that I come from that community organizing and advocacy background. I never really saw myself as a politician until the opportunity came. And I see my political trajectory as an extension of my community work to become the decision maker, and then to bring the voices and the partnerships and the coalitions that I have, with me into those roles as much as possible. That's what I tried to do with the city council position, and that's what I will do with the state house rep opportunity here. And I have the most actual statewide organizing and programming experience. I helped organize the statewide Minnesota Census Mobilization Partnership for the 2020 census, working with nonprofits from across different backgrounds and sectors, philanthropy, the state demographer's office, to really turn out the vote for 2020. And I'm staying connected with that effort to be able to hopefully help everyone get counted in Minnesota in 2030 as well. So we're getting ready for that. And as part of my previous job for MDH with the COVID pandemic response, I helped to organize information sessions, testing and vaccination clinics all throughout the state as well. Making great connections and working with great local leaders and organizations around the state. So I really bring a great organizational experience from across the state into this role. And again, all my networks, all my contacts, all of that will come to bear in terms of working with other representatives in the DFL caucus to be able to craft legislation that, of course, will not only just impact this district, but all Minnesotans.
I mean, now you talk about endorsement, where you're the DFL endorsed candidate, and you said Senator John Hoffman endorsed you as well. First of all, how is he doing? I know he was part of that tragedy. I know, how is he doing? He and his wife, how are they doing?
Yeah, they're doing much better, and they're looking forward to getting back into the swing of things. Had a great conversation with them, and he's back in good spirits. If you know him, he's very sharp-witted, very, very funny, and so he's back in really good spirits. And so that's the best part, is to see him, back in his old mood.
Are there, besides you being the DFL endorsed candidate and Senator John Hoffman endorsing you, are there any other endorsement that we should know about at this moment, or any other DFL heavyweights have endorsed you or something?
Yeah, a lot. So I mean, there's a long list, but I think I just recently got in the endorsement from Keith Ellison. Had a great conversation.
Oh, wow.
With him. So as the DFL endorsed candidate, he endorses me, and again, we had a great conversation about some of his priorities and how I can be helpful, after I win. And then, of course, the bordering representatives, Representative Samantha Vang, Representative, she's from Brooklyn Center, of course, Representative Fu Lee from North Minneapolis, and then former Rep Mike Nelson from 38A. So had a great conversation with him as well. And then not endorsements, but I've had great conversations with Representative Zach Stevenson, who's from 35, so north of us, across the river. But he's been helpful with insights and with advice as well. So other than that, I've been endorsed with some organizations. So my labor union, MAPE, Minnesota Associations of Professional Employees. And then I'm also really honored to have gotten the DFL Veterans and Military Families endorsement. Talking to some other unions to be able to get them on board. Also the Minnesota Academy for Eye Physicians and Surgeons, MAPES. I don't have that logo on my background yet, but definitely working to build a large coalition as much as possible to be able to help again continue the momentum into the seat and then into the work, hopefully after I win.
Okay. Well, District 34B has a lot of challenges, right? I'm not, especially right now, we live in a high inflationary environment. Affordability is on everyone's mind. How do you plan to address that, especially when it comes to housing?
Yeah, in terms of housing, what we need to do is get a lot of the corporate owners under control,
Mm,
um, because they're really just in it for their bottom line,
okay.
and they're buying up a lot of properties and renting them, without really enough consideration for the folks that call um, Minnesota and this district home, right? That live in our communities as
Hmm.
neighbors.
Hmm.
So that's one thing. Another thing is to really um, address some of the behind the scenes issues with property owners that
Hmm.
are um, um, working together to keep rents high. Um, so we need to address some of those rent stabilization um, 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 issues to make sure that things are fair and at market price, um, without a lot of collusion on
Okay.
the part of the property owners.
Hmm.
In terms of housing, we need to continue to build more, to be able to bring more homes into the market to help to bring the prices down a little bit more. But then also on the employment end,
Yeah.
we need to be able to make sure that we can offer um, um, workplaces, pathways to work, and workforce development opportunities for folks to be able to advance in their careers and to find good paying jobs, so that way they can feel like they can afford the homes, right, that are available, and they can get access to, of course, federal loans, but also some local dollars, and maybe even be able to improve their homes with some local funds.
Okay.
Yeah. In terms of um, groceries, I think something that I've definitely going to like defend is our no tax on food and clothes. I think that's something special about Minnesota, and there are conversations around um, um, uh, making passing a tax
Yeah.
to be able to help fund other programs and things. But that's something that is just going to add a lot more burden on top of families that are really struggling right now. So
Mm.
I'll definitely go to the Capitol and not support anything that will create a tax on food and or clothes.
Okay. I mean, you've been from an immigrant background. Education is very important to many immigrants because it creates economic opportunity. How do you plan to address the issue of education, especially around access, equity, and and quality education, for immigrant kids because your district is very diverse.
Yeah, education is definitely one of my top priorities, along with healthcare, infrastructure,
Mm-hmm.
environmental justice.
Hmm.
Um, our district, the 34B, has two of the largest districts in the state, Anoka Hennepin, as well as Osseo.
Okay.
Um, in terms of accessibility, you know, have to try to make sure that there's enough transportation, that um, um, folks are like the we have we're seeking um, bus drivers all the time, trying to make sure that we shore up that side of the process,
Hmm.
to keep kids safe and moving around um, efficiently and effectively. In terms of equity, it's been a challenging environment, right? Because there's a lot of anti-equity forces. So I will definitely stand up and be a champion for equity in our schools. especially protecting our LGBTQ plus students and their rights to be seen and be heard and be safe at our schools. And then I think what we need to get back to is building and strengthening that triangle between schools, parents, and the home situation, and then community, right? With a lot of wraparound services and support. So I think we have a lot of a good structure here in the Brooklyn Park and in the district. We just need to continue to strengthen it. Our education system is mid-tier, in terms of like being ranked nationally, like 20 something. So we have to try and do a lot better than that. So there are disparities in achievement testing. So, we need to try to address that. And then also in terms of just curriculum, I definitely support ethnic studies because again, being having some immigrant and refugee populations, having the students see their culture, their lived experiences, their backgrounds in their textbooks or are being shown and celebrated in their schools. It creates such a powerful environment of belonging and confidence. That's something that we really need to try to aspire to and to provide at every school in Minnesota. So the lived experiences of the students in the schools, that's super important to me, and I will support that.
Okay. The issue of crime, especially among youth, is also very concerning in the district. When you listen to the local news, sometimes Broken Park is always in the news about crime. How do you plan to address the issue of crime, especially working with the various police department? Because there's, the district comprises of 3 cities. There's Broken Park, I think Champlain, and part of, is it Alcio or
Coon Rapids.
Coon Rapids, sorry, So how do you plan to address the issue of crime? In the district?
Yeah. Overall, I will continue to share that crime is down in Brooklyn Park. There was a spike there over COVID, but a lot of that has been addressed. I think our police department and Chief Bruley has done a really spectacular job continuing to address that. At the state level, what I will do is continue to support all of those local efforts to ensure that programs like having the mental health team available and funded. Brooklyn Park helped to pilot that program, and it's been, I think, really amazing to have. So it continues to expand, and I will continue to support that, right? Because again, a lot of police officers, don't have the capacity to respond to mental health crisis. And so that follow-up or even that initial response, could be the difference between a effective outcome and like a bad outcome, right? So I definitely will support that. And then in terms of youth, we're building the new Wood Rec Center right now. That's the name of the new building that's being built. It's awesome to see it going up. That is, one of many opportunities, that we have in the city to be able to give youth a lot of opportunities to connect with community programming that will, help them to spend their time learning different skills or being creative, and opportunities to really grow, right, in really constructive ways. So we need to try to expand that and make a lot of those opportunities more available, whether it's in community centers or at their schools themselves. So those are really, really great opportunities. And then really trying to address social media. There's a lot of studies and research now. We're starting to get information on how time spent on social media or just in front of screens is affecting the development of our youth and our students, right, in particular. So we need to continue to support that work and then bring a lot of those lessons learned into our schools and our communities and our homes to be able to support our students, to help them get out. And I don't know if the kids still use the term touch grass, but to get them to, touch grass more. We have plenty of parks, right? In Brooklyn Park. We have the river. We're reinvesting in it. So to get them out and engaged with nature, to get them out and engaged with the physical world, and talking to each other and getting to know each other more, in summer camps or in other youth opportunities. Would love to expand the Brooklink opportunities, right? That allow for youth to be able to get engaged in entrepreneurial initiatives or internship opportunities with the cities or other local organizations. So those are really great ways that I will definitely help to support from the Capitol to be able to expand, again, not just for the area, but across the state.
Okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing a new generation of leadership in the XPD vision for District 34B, and contribute to the conversation by calling with number 952-594-5154 or putting a comment in the chat. But, the district, as I said, is a very diverse district. When it comes to businesses, a lot of immigrant businesses in the district, sometimes some of them struggle with permitting, access to capital, to loans, and things like that. A lot of struggles, small businesses face. What is your plan for the small business community, especially those immigrant businesses in your district?
Yeah, I think continuing to support our small business center. That's one of the things that we were able to get accomplished while I was on the city council, again, with support from our state and congressional legislators as well. So we got a lot of good funding to be able to get that going. And it's an incubator space, right, for small businesses to be able to hopefully thrive and then grow out of that small business center into their own shops or other spaces. So that's the hope. And I definitely want to support all of the funds that will help that to happen, to continue to support the incubator, but then also opportunities for development. If businesses need funds to help lease or buy their brick and mortar places, or to be able to find the capital, right, for loans to get their equipment, or to be able to make sure that they have the resources and the capital to pay their staff and to get off on a great foot. So all of those opportunities can be looked at with a state lens, and then also working with federal resources as well to be able to support small business growth. And Brooklyn Park, especially along the 610 corridor, will have a lot of future development. So, how can we leverage that with our new biotech innovation district strategies to be able to create and support our local entrepreneurs, right, and immigrant business owners. When I was on the city council, we talked about creating some kind of a multinational theme for certain sections of the city, and even possibly creating in the was it Up Zane, the new developments around where the McDonald's is.
Yeah.
Possibly creating like multinational square, to
Yeah.
really celebrate our diverseness, right, and our multinationalism.
Okay.
I think those are opportunities to be able to connect. Again, oh yeah, Brooklyn Park has great sister cities in Africa that we can also help to support. And I'm not sure about Coon Rapids and Champlin, but those are other opportunities to be able to strengthen our local economies.
Okay. Many local businesses, especially small businesses and immigrant-owned businesses, struggle with, navigating like, regulations and
Mm.
state permitting. What step will you take to simplify, the permitting process and all of these regulations, right? Because sometimes, some immigrant businesses, because we lack representation, there's no one there, right, that look like us. So sometimes some of these things, right, if you go for a permit, like yesterday, we had a business owner on here, the Waterside Market. The owner of Waterside Market, was on here yesterday. He expressed some frustrations in terms of permitting
Mm.
and regulations because we don't have folks in those places representing us. How will you, what ideas or what plans do you have to simplify like permitting process or some of these regulations that are affecting businesses in your district?
Yeah, I think it's similar to healthcare navigation, where there needs to be small business or entrepreneurial navigators,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, you have to go through zoning, you have to go through the city, you have to go through county, you have to go
Mm-hmm.
through the Department of Health, sometimes, or other state departments. So there's a lot to navigate, especially for folks that maybe don't speak English as their first
Mm-hmm.
language, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so and even if they do, right, it's just so much to be able to handle it as even if English was your first language. So yeah, like a small business a navigator. I know the Small Business Administration tries to set up uh, like connections to local business owners. So something like that, but definitely on like a higher level, with a larger scope, to really help businesses to get going. Sort of connected to our small business center,
Mm-hmm.
but again, a more robust, like one-on-one, personal connection, where our small business center sets the space. This like navigator type role could be
Mm-hmm.
the person or the advisor that you can go to really help you connect to resources. And we do have some really great business developers on
Yeah.
staff
Yeah.
with the city, but of course they have a lot of other responsibilities as well. So I think we can build something like that into the small business center to definitely have a larger impact and scope with our immigrant business owners and
Do you,
minority business owners, and other business owners who would just need that extra assistance.
do you believe that state of Minnesota should offer, tax incentive or relief programs to like, small businesses, especially like immigrant-owned businesses in like disadvantaged area? That's to say, right? If you drive on a Broken Boulevard, a lot of immigrant businesses there. Do you believe, right? Like at the state level, right? The state should offer incentives for small businesses in disadvantaged areas.
I think that's definitely something I can look into. I would support that in terms of how we can incentivize growth in economic areas that need revitalization, right?
Mm-hmm.
To really support that as much as possible, or just vitalization in general. How do we create incentives for people to be able to access funds to grow, to maybe improve their stores that they already have, or to get into spaces to be able to vitalize the corridors, right? Like you were talking about, no matter who owns the businesses, but definitely for folks that are up and coming, or
Yeah.
part of emerging communities. I think we're doing some of that in the agriculture area. So we
Mm-hmm.
could definitely also focus in on the entrepreneurial areas as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
If you
especially
look,
with some of the developments coming through on
yeah,
the Blue Line
yeah.
project,
Hmm.
coming up West Broadway.
Sure. If you win this race, how will you measure your success in your first term?
I think one of the big things again I want to work on is education and healthcare.
Okay.
So trying to really work with the caucus to be able to move uh, the the legislation on expanding Minnesota Care to a vote.
Mhm.
Working, of course, with everyone as much as possible.
Yeah.
I'll have a lot to learn, but if I can move that and also support some of the equity legislation and protecting some of our funding for our K through 12 schools, those would be big wins, especially with again large federal budget cuts coming. So safeguarding our also safeguarding our Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP benefits, especially for seniors, people with disabilities. So there will be some defensive posturing that I want to support, that will be big wins if we can hold them heading into again looking at the big budget cuts that are coming.
When you look again, your district is very diverse, and a lot of immigrants, avoid politics. Once they come here, maybe even they become citizens, like they don't go to the polls, they don't vote. They say politics is not for me. I'm just here to work. How do
Right.
you plan to engage the immigrant community in your district in terms of continuous engagement and even bringing them to the polls, right? Because the open primary on August 12th, and then up to the general on September 16th. How do you plan to engage the immigrant community to turn out to vote and to participate in politics?
Yeah, direct communication and engagement is really important. I know two of the organizations locally, the nonprofits are CAPI and ACER, that are doing really great work in terms of getting out the vote and community organizing.
Hmm.
And then I think the next step is I really want to support one of my friend and local. She's had a really awesome history supporting local movements, is Alfreda Daniels. She wants to start a new leadership, civic engagement training boot camp, I think was
Hmm.
the word. But that's really what we need, is to be able to bring young leaders and leaders who are interested in learning, to be able to boost their confidence and their skill sets, to be able to work on issues and or campaigns as they choose, and then to be able to stay focused on how their work is affecting policy that is improving the lives of the residents here. And then engaging, folks from again across all the communities, whether it's Asian or African or Hispanic,
Hmm.
or Native American,
Yeah.
or disability,
Hmm.
or LGBTQ, so like from all backgrounds in the area, to really say, hey, like we've got a lot of opportunity here to get engaged, and then we need to find trusted messengers. I'm a big fan of like not everyone's gonna identify with me, right? So I can
Hmm.
I can go to certain communities and say something, but other people can go into their communities, and it'll
Yeah.
have much more impact. So we need trusted messengers and trusted organizations to come together to build this coalition of reaching out and engagement, because really, in this atmosphere of
Hmm.
polarization,
Yeah.
that's really going to be the key for us to be able to again come together as a community,
Hmm.
is really reaching across our communities, to be able to come together and to have important conversations to get folks engaged in the process. I mean, there's always get out the vote, but then
Yeah.
get out the vote is like, only for election
Hmm.
time, right? So what happens in between, right? We need to be able to sustain the civic engagement and fund that in between, and then make sure that the organizations like CAPI and ACER are holding space
Mhm.
to hold everyone accountable,
Yeah.
even especially us, the legislators. How are we helping them move the needle forward for the communities
Mhm.
that we're supposedly serving?
Yeah.
So, I definitely want to support that structure locally and even at the state level to make
Mhm.
sure that our communities, our diverse communities, are getting engaged in ways that will build power for them.
What's one thing, you think people misunderstand about you, as a politician, especially now in these moments, right, about politics and public service?
That's a good question in terms of misunderstanding about
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Um, I think I m- maybe people think because I've kind of getting back into politics
Mhm.
with this race that I'm maybe just doing it for the title, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
um, because it's high profile. It's the speaker, Hortman's position, and I'm just doing it because I want the title.
Mhm.
But that's not it at all. And to the title isn't important to me really. It's really the representation.
Okay.
I um, take very seriously uh, our system of government and this role, this opportunity to be a representative for the folks of my district,
Mhm.
um, to be able to be their voice and to be their champion at the House, to work with other representatives
Mhm.
to be able to craft legislation that will hopefully better and improve the lives of all Minnesotans, right? So, uh, I've never really been into like titles or fame.
Mhm.
That's not what I chase. It's really quality of life for
Mhm.
myself, my family, my friends, and my neighbors. That's what's most important to me.
Okay. As you have crisscrossed the district, what have you learned about the district? What have you learned about yourself? And what have you learned about your campaign?
Yeah, I think it's changed. So I'm happy to see that it changed. And, so after the last census, it was redistricted.
Okay.
So it's not just all of um, uh, north of 85th, and then it doesn't have uh, the part of Coon Rapids across the dam. It has
Mhm.
the part of Coon Rapids now across 610. Um,
Mhm.
so I'm happy to see that it shifted in a way that allowed for uh, um, more representation from the 252 corridor,
Yeah.
and which I think added more renters.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
so yeah, I think it's just really important to look at the physical attributes.
Mhm.
Of course, the river and the parks are huge.
Mhm.
Um, Again, the schools, the Anoka Hennepin and Osseo schools that we have, and the 610 corridor and the
Mhm.
252 corridor.
Mhm.
252 is pretty much built, but the infrastructure, right, of the freeway, that project will be very key to future growth. And along the 610, of course, the biotech district, you know, that will be the growth of that will not only benefit Brooklyn Park, but also the whole area. So, helping make sure that grows in a way that just will be really effective again for the whole region.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you mentioned the diversity. It's definitely super diverse. And again, diversity is our strength, and we need to be able to come together to, celebrate our multicultural and national experience here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've just always loved the opportunities to be able to like go to different ethnic restaurants
Yeah.
in the area,
Mm-hmm.
stores.
Mm-hmm.
It just has a really great feel
Mm-hmm.
that makes me feel at home.
So you interact with these voters, right? With with resident of the district. What have you learned about you, about XP Lee?
Oh, I'm sorry. What have they learned about me?
No, what have you learned about yourself?
Oh, what have I learned about myself?
Yeah.
Um, I think the one thing that I've learned the most is that I continue to be humbled about people just sharing their struggles,
Mm-hmm.
sharing their thoughts, sharing. Some of the folks have lived there for a long time and they've seen a lot of changes,
Mm-hmm.
and just being really open about how that how they feel about that and where they want to see Brooklyn Park continue to go in the future. Of course, some folks share their issues and concerns, stuff that, again, like we've talked about, education, healthcare, public safety. But yeah, it's that's again, that's one of the reasons why I love talking to folks and coming from that community engagement background, is because you are building that connection as humans, as person to person. And even though you may not agree on everything, you're really able to understand the lived experiences, each other's lived experiences, and where we're coming from. And from there, you can continue to build relationships around families, around raising children, around trying to find jobs, or trying
Mm-hmm.
to move up your career. So some of these experiences that we all have
Yeah.
living here in the district and in the state.
10 years from now, when folks look back at your service, what do you hope they remember about XP Lee?
10 years, I think. Maybe it's cliche, but just that he was, I am a genuine person, and who stood up for what I believed in, and really tried his best to connect with and bring community together. Um, yeah, I think as long as people remember me as a community builder, someone who really tried my best, gave my best to build this community, to bring it together, to move us forward in terms of the issues that we care about, then I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Okay. For resident listening, to you tonight, are going to listen to you, and they are still on the fence. Why should they vote for you over the other two candidates, especially in the DFL primary?
Yeah. I think, again, I go back to the fact that I had a really strong vote of confidence from the SD34 delegates, and continue to earn other endorsements, which means that I'm aligning very much with the DFL platform, and am a voice of confidence and strength, and a vision of the future that folks are identifying with, from better healthcare for all, to better education, for all students, better infrastructure, more green infrastructure, more climate justice and environmental justice, and someone who will stand for diversity and equity, and the needs of, again, not just residents, but work with other DFLers to address the needs of all Minnesotans. So people are seeing that I'm genuine. People are connecting with my passion and my experience, and are excited about what I will bring to the state capitol. So I hope that you will be able to connect to that as well, and that I will have your vote heading into Tuesday's primary.
Okay. And then the other thing, you talk about the endorsement, right? Gaining the DFL endorsement, the delegates of District 34B. It's no small feat. What work, that went into that, right? How did you, what was the mechanism, you know what I mean, stuff like that? How did you, gain that endorsement? Because it's no small feat. What went into that?
Yeah, it was really again talking to people, one on one. I was door knocking and phone calling, really trying to have that face-to-face time to be able to just have a brief conversation, whether it was really short or maybe a little bit longer. Every single conversation really meant that, again, we were able to connect as people, and I think that's what ultimately won folks over. But also being genuine, and then having that really just once we got into the endorsing convention, really just having people identify with that, and then talking to other people, sharing that they're enthusiastic about my candidacy. Then that led to other folks during the convention agreeing and then coming on board as well. So just again, it comes back down to having that conversation and building the relationship to be able to create confidence in my candidacy and in what I will bring to the role.
Okay. Thank you. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing new generation of leadership, SPD vision for District 34B. He's one of 3 candidates running in the August 12th primary. This is a 1-hour show. We have been here now for the last 1 hour. He's been explaining his vision, his background and things like that. I think, he has done well to educate us, to educate, the residents of District 34B, and to turn out on August 12th for the primary, and then also for the general on September 16th. But as we try to wrap up here, again, right, the district, it's a very, very diverse district. There's another, I think there's another representation. And how's your relationship with Representative Huda Hisley?
We're definitely, work well together. I supported her campaign, for the state. And she, I love her personality and her authenticity that she brings to the role. So I am aware that she is supporting another candidate, and that's her choice. We're gonna be able to continue to work together. And if I'm fortunate enough to win and get to the state, then we'll be co-workers, and I think we have a really high mutual respect for each other.
Okay. Well, so Sarah, it's a 1-hour show. We don't want to keep you all night, but as we try to wrap things up, what is the message to the residents that have been listening to you for the last 1 hour? Your parting message to them, your closing message for them tonight. They have been listening to you. See a lot of good things, things that you want to accomplish. What's the message you want to leave with them tonight?
Yeah, I think, thank you so much for this conversation. This is a really great format. Like not too many folks do this longer, like hour conversation. So it's great to be here and to be talking and sharing my thoughts and information with your listeners. And my parting message is that I am an immigrant. I'm a refugee. Myself. My parents fled war from Laos into Thailand. I came here as a young child, so I'm like a 1.5 generation. I learned English here, so I have that ESL experience, and went through, faced my own racism when I was younger, overcame a lot, did my best in school, and then really focused on community organizing as my outlet for my skills and my leadership. And that has led me to the path now to be able to be in this opportunity to be your next state house representative. And I, bring all of that experience and genuineness and want to be able to connect with communities, all communities, but especially our diverse communities in Brooklyn Park, to be able to support the continued growth. Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center together are the most diverse area in the state. So, Mayor Lundy used to say, our diversity is diverse itself. And that is so true. So, I love learning about the cultures, about the history, talking to folks, and connecting. I even got a Nigerian like nickname.
Okay.
Yeah, which is Omowale.
Okay, Omowale. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. That's Nigerian legend. Okay, Omowale.
Yeah,
so the next time I see you, I'm gonna call you Omowale.
So I was, at the city working with MIND, which is the Minnesota Institute for Nigerian Development,
Okay.
and getting to know them a little bit, connecting them to the city. Yeah, that was what they bestowed upon me,
Okay.
and so I still remember that. It's really awesome. So
Sure.
no, and but that's that's the genuine like care that I feel for our communities, and that's what's going to make me a great champion, for our communities at the state capitol. So yeah, I hope to have your vote. You can find more information about me at my website, xplee, formnhouse.com. So thank you so much, Abe, for giving me this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And folks, that concludes the end of our show tonight. You have heard from the three candidates. Hopefully please participate for all those in District 34B. And even if you're not in the district, right, campaigns are expensive. If you can contribute to these campaigns, whatever you can do to support them, we hope that you do that. Get engaged. It is a good time to be part of politics, right? To not avoid politics. That's what we are here for here in Cycle Podcast, to amplify, empower, and elevate, especially immigrant voices. So XPD, thank you so much for coming on tonight. And we hope, whatever happens, make Cycle your home. We'll definitely be in touch. So thank you so much. And folks, you all have a good night. See you guys tomorrow and next week. Thank you. Good night.
Thanks again. And don't forget.
Thank you.